I'm 21 now, and one thing I wish I understood earlier is that your future usually isn't decided by one huge decision, but by the small choices you keep making when nobody is watching you. When you are younger, it feels like you have got unlimited time to figure everything out, so it's easy to tell yourself that you will start taking life more seriously later, when you have got more motivation, more confidence, more money, or a clearer idea of what you actually want. The problem is that later becomes a habit really quickly, especially when every evening starts the same way because you get home tired, lie down for a minute, open your phone, and suddenly it's too late enough that you don't even feel like doing anything else. I'm not saying you should turn every evening into some insane self-improvement routine where you work, train, read, learn a skill and build a business until midnight, because that's not realistic and nobody can live like that for a long time without getting tired of their own life. What I'm saying is that there is a difference between choosing to rest because you need it and losing hours to things you won't even remember watching the next day. You probably know that feeling when it's already 11 p.m. and your phone's still in your hand and you have got this quiet thought in the back of your mind saying, I had time today, so why do I still feel like I did nothing with it? That feeling isn't really about being lazy, because most of the time you're not lazy at all. You're just mentally exhausted after spending the whole day around people, pressure, expectations, social media, and whatever else is happening in your life. When you finally get home, your brain wants the easiest possible escape. And your phone gives you exactly that because it keeps you distracted without making you think too much about where your life is going. The reason this becomes a problem isn't because watching videos is bad, playing games is bad, or relaxing is bad, but because it becomes your default answer to every free hour you have. After a while, you stop feeling like you're using your time and start feeling like your time is just getting taken from you by whatever appears on your screen next. You don't need to know exactly what career you want, where you want to live, how much money you want to make, or what your whole life is supposed to look like, especially when you're still trying to understand yourself. But you should care at least a little about the direction you're moving in, because the version of you that exists in a few years will mostly be built from the things you start doing before you feel ready. Maybe you have been thinking about learning, editing, design, coding, fitness, content creation, business, music, photography, or literally anything else that makes you curious, but you keep treating it like some idea for the future instead of something you could try for 20 minutes tonight. That's what I wish more people understood earlier, because you don't need a huge plan to start building something for yourself, and you definitely don't need to wait until you feel completely confident before you begin. Most people who eventually become good at something didn't wake up one day feeling prepared, they just started while they still feel awkward, confused, and unsure whether anyone would care. Your first video might be terrible, your first project might look embarrassing, your first attempt to make money online might go nowhere, and the first few weeks of learning a skill might feel like you're making absolutely no progress, guys. That doesn't mean you're wasting your time, because everybody who is good at something now had a stage where they were terrible and nobody noticed what they were doing. The only difference is that they kept giving some of their evenings to something that matters to them, instead of giving every single evening away to random content that disappear from their memory the second they close the app. You don't need to become obsessed with productivity, and you shouldn't feel guilty every time you rest, because resting is part of having a life that you actually enjoy instead of one where you constantly feel behind. But it helps to be honest with yourself about whether you are genuinely resting or whether you are avoiding your own thoughts, because you don't know what to do with them. A good question to ask yourself before you open social media is, what's one small thing I could do tonight that my future self would be grateful for? That thing doesn't have to be impressive, because it could be watching one useful tutorial, writing down an idea, spending 20 minutes learning something, making the first version of the project, sending a message to somebody who inspires you, or simply just going to sleep earlier because you know tomorrow will be easier if you do. The point isn't that one small action will magically change your life overnight, but that it slowly changes the way you see yourself, because you stop feeling like someone who is always waiting to start. Once you begin doing even a little bit for your future on normal, boring evenings, you start building trust with yourself, and that trust becomes more valuable than any motivational video you could watch. You start thinking less about becoming some perfect version of yourself and more about becoming someone who actually follows through the things they care about. So don't try to fix your whole life tonight. Don't put pressure on yourself to suddenly become a completely different person before the end of the week. Just do one thing before you disappear into your phone that makes you feel like your evening belongs to you. Because a lot can change when you stop treating your free time like it means nothing.